That's my name.
I feel like this movie was just kind of sensory overload. I don't know, like, because honestly, like when I walked away from it, I was like, that was great. I loved it. But God, I don't think I could put my thoughts in any coherent order.
So we're going to get into it in a minute because that's kind of exactly how I felt. This is Sharks Across Hollywood, though. This is Shark Week. We're talking about the Last Sharknado movie, Sharknado 6, The Last Sharknado. So continue your thought about that if you have any more to say about it.
Well, first off, it's called The Last Sharknado, but it is not The Last Sharknado. There is another Sharknado movie called Sharknado: Hearts of Sharkness.
That's a documentary.
No, it's not a documentary. It's a mockumentary. It's a story. It's fictional, and we're going to do it next year. But this is The Last Sharknado. That's the official title, The Last Sharknado. It's about time. Yeah, like this movie is just fucking madness. And you know what? I got to say, they went out strong because if you'll recall from years past, by the way, listener, if you have not listened to all of our Sharknado episodes, we have covered all of them up to this point, and you should go back and start at the beginning. But in years past, we have said that they kind of jumped the shark, so to speak, in, what was it, part 3? Was it part 3 or part 4? Where it just started getting to be just a long string of completely pointless cameos.
At least the cameos in here, like, they were like characters instead of like, I'm just here.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, in this one, there was a story. We were following a very clearly defined story. It was fucking ridiculous. It was madness. It was stupid as hell. It had no basis in reality. And that's perfectly fine because that's exactly what we expect from Sharknado. But it had a story, whereas 3 almost felt like it didn't have a story. It was just a series of set pieces and cameos that were just forcing the characters from one to the next to the next.
Are you talking about the right movie?
Am I talking about it? It's the one with the tornado. It's the one with Tommy Davidson as
that's
Elon
4.
Musk.
That's the one that none of us liked.
Yeah,
that neither of us liked.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I couldn't
3
remember
is the one with Frankie Muniz, and that's when.
Oh no, that one was good.
That's when the sci-fi shit started to come into play.
Okay,
like the real crazy wacky sci-fi shit.
Okay,
like it was already like this dumb action movie in the first and second one, but then the weird actual craziness started to happen. It was like 1, 2, and 3 we're like, fuck yeah, we're on board. 4, something was wrong with it, and you just nailed it. It's just like from scene to scene, it's like Vince Neil just pops his head in a frame for no reason.
For no goddamn reason.
Doesn't do anything.
There's
doesn't
no
die.
narrative reason for it. He's not a character. He's just there as Vince Neil. Same thing with fucking, I think, the guy from Poison who you fucking hate.
Oh, Bret Michaels. That was in part 5.
Oh, that was part 5. Okay,
Did you not rewatch part 5?
Dude, I haven't rewatched any.
Oh my God. You had to watch part 5. I knew I had to.
No, I remember how it ended, so I was like, yeah, that's all I need.
Yeah, no, Bret Michaels in part 5, it was dumb, but at least, but we liked part 5. Remember?
No, I did like part 5. I was like, yeah, this is a return. This is back. We're getting back to where we want. And this one they get back. This one, I really feel like they nailed the ending. They stuck the ending so well on this because it is absolute madness. It is packed with cameos, but all the cameos serve a purpose. All of them are characters played by cameo characters.
Yes, for the most part. There's a few that are just kind of there to die.
Yeah,
but that's kind of the deal.
But that, honestly, there are remarkably few of them. The majority of the characters in this movie are characters. It may be stupid, it may be anachronistic, it may be unrealistic, doesn't matter. But they are characters who are serving a purpose within the story. They got it right.
Are we really going after realism at this point?
No, I'm going after a storytelling. I'm not going after realism. This movie, realism would kill this fucking franchise, okay? No, I'm going after storytelling.
No.
You can tell a story. It doesn't have to have realism.
I want the dark and gritty Sharknado reboot.
The 100% accurate, based on real science, the 100% medically accurate human centipede Sharknado.
Yes. Okay, so let's get back to the Heart of Sharkness for just 1 second.
Okay.
Heart of Sharkness came out in 2015. This movie came out in 2018. So this is the last Sharknado.
Oh, this is the last one.
So why don't you fucking suck it?
Oh.
You need to get your shit together. You know nothing. You need to go back and you need to watch all 6 of these movies plus Heart of Sharkness, apparently.
I was wrong about everything. Everything. I take it all back.
Yeah.
I
Get
take
your
it
shit
all
together.
back, especially the fact that I loved this ending to the series.
No, don't take
No,
that back.
it's dog shit.
So the weirdest
ruined it.
the weirdest part about it is like we spent so much time with these characters, it's hard not to love them. And then they throw in a bunch of weird emotional crap that like
I literally said out loud because I was watching this with my roommate, and I said to him, I was like, "Wait a minute, are they trying to cram emotionality into fucking Sharknado?"
and yes, and it didn't not work as much as you'd think it would. It didn't make me cry or anything, but
I was okay with it. I really enjoyed this a lot.
You don't try to do that in the first movie because
No.
it's Sharknado, but apparently you do try to do it when you're 6 movies deep, and it works, and it's
I'm not
weird.
going to say it worked. It was fine.
It did not
it's
work.
acceptable.
Well, I'm not saying it works like, oh my god, I'm so emotional.
I didn't
right
connect.
now.
It mostly made me laugh, but honestly, that was kind of the point of this entire movie. So, mission accomplished.
And then there was like one delivery from Tara Reid where I'm like, oh shit, she just got done with acting class because it was like a good shot, and then she's back to being Tara Reid again.
Tara Reid has one golden
It was really
moment
funny
in the last Sharknado.
Yeah, and it was when she was being all evil and stuff. I'll try to point it out because you're right. This movie is fucking bonkers. It's
The whole idea of recapping this is, I mean, we can because there is a linear progression, but oh my god, it really is sensory overload. And if you don't have extensive notes, I'm probably not going to be able to help you.
Let's start at the very beginning because so Sharknado 5.
The very beginning, quite literally.
So Sharknado 5, we talked about it. You should just go listen to the episode. But it ends with essentially the world ending, and then here comes Dolph Lundgren in his dumbass shark helmet, going, "Hey, Dad," talking to Finn, and that was the funniest part of that whole movie. By the way, just hearing him say, "Dad, we need to go say Mom and my sister." And then I got very excited.
Like 65-year-old Dolph Lundgren.
I got very excited. I heard that Dolph Lundgren was not in Sharknado 6 like at all. And
No,
I'm like,
sadly,
no,
he
that's
is
not going to happen. And then I get there and all we get is a weird little hologram that's not even Dolph Lundgren.
No,
somebody doing a
clearly
very bad Dolph
not
Lundgren
Dolph
impersonation. What we do get is eventually the Shermanator is fucking Gil.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm supposed to believe that the Shermanator eventually became Dolph Lundgren. Get out of here. Jesus.
Well, I'm going to go, this movie's Asylum great. I'm just going to get that one out.
No, it is. It's absolutely Asylum great. This is exactly what you want from this type of movie. This is exactly, honestly, the Asylum should look at Sharknado's 2, 3, and this one. I can't remember if 5 was as good.
It's as nuts.
No, I mean, 5 was definitely a return to form from 4, and 4 is the one they should stay the fuck away from. But Sharknado's 2, 3, and this one for sure.
Not quite as good, but up there.
They should look at these movies and just go, let's do that in all of our movies. Let's just do that.
I don't know if they'd have the patience or the money, like the Asylum money, to do this in every fucking Asylum movie. I don't know.
The thing is, it doesn't need to be so effects heavy. It doesn't need to be a giant, bonanza of special effects. I mean, granted, these special effects are all Asylum budget special effects, but it doesn't need to be on that level. They just need to make it as wacky and bananas as this is, in terms of just being absurd. That's what you come to the Asylum for. That's what the Asylum is good at. That's the thing that makes Asylum movies watchable. When Asylum movies try and take themselves at all seriously, it just falls apart. It's when it's being really, really absurd. That's when the Asylum shines.
So let's get back to the beginning. Sorry, we got derailed again. But Dolph Lundgren is not in the fucking 6th movie. It really annoyed me, but that's okay. We don't need him. It's fine.
Yeah, who needs him? Who needs Dolph Lundgren?
So at the end of the movie,
let's just get rid of Rocky 4 entirely.
All right, fuck it.
Obviously, we're joking, folks. Listen to our episodes. Yes. We love Dolph.
The conceit is that the world is ending, but Gil has learned how to travel through time and shit. And we
young 70-year-old Gil.
We open the movie, the Sharknado 6. We open the movie with Finn going back to dinosaur times all by himself. Gil was supposed to be there, but they have a thing that says you can't actually travel backwards in time more than once.
which is complete bullshit by the logic that happens in this movie.
Yes.
But that's on brand for Sharknado. Bad logic is this movie's stock and
But
trade.
they do kind of explain it away a little bit, so...
They fucking do
There is
not.
an explanation for some of the time travel nonsense.
How did Gil go back in time and then travel forward in time to rescue all the people who he rescued and then take them back in time, each to a different era? They just had to write Dolph Lundgren out of the movie is what it is. And I'm sorry, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
So that's the explanation.
So I am going to shit on the logic of this movie, but please do not take that as me not loving every second of it.
There's a T-Rex. He steals April's head. Also at the end of the last movie, the only thing that survived besides Finn was April's head, because as we know, she's a robot. That is very, very, very fucking important. That is a big deal in this movie.
Oh yeah, that is key to the plot.
It is just...
Such as it is.
Yes, it's a wacky opening that just thrusts you right into the shit, and if I hadn't gone back and watched part 5, I would have been even more lost than I already was.
No, I'm not lost. I knew April was a robot. I knew he had her head. I knew that
you had a better memory than me because I didn't remember any of that shit.
I knew that Dolph had taken him into the past, and Dolph was his son, and that the world had ended. I remembered all that.
Were you prepared for Nova, not Robot April, and Brian from part 2 to show up?
I knew it was Nova the second she showed up on that cliff face. I was like, oh, Nova's back. I was not ready for Brian to show up. I was like, really? He was the pivotal character they had to bring back?
I didn't know who he was. I forgot who he was, and then I saw the bat. I'm like, oh, it's that fucking guy from the second movie. Oh, God. And then there's lots of Back to the Future references, like they have to get up to speed, up to 88 miles an hour to fucking travel through time, which doesn't make any sense 90% of the time.
No, not even a little bit.
I've never seen a shark or a train go 90 miles an hour.
Nope.
So, especially a train back in that time. The whole point of Back to the Future 3 is that Doc needed his fancy Presto logs to make it go that fast.
The entire plot of Back to the Future 3 revolves around the fact that a train has a really fucking hard time getting up to 88 miles per hour.
And April can ride a pterodactyl.
Yes, she can.
It's a pterodon, apparently, because it has a tail, but whatever.
And it's called Terra.
Terra. And they're like, because it's a pterodactyl, right? And I'm like, no. Because her name is Tara Reid. And her acting isn't annoying yet in this movie because she's not doing anything weird. She's just kind of talking.
She's fine.
She'll get into her Tara Reidness later.
There's one scene where I was like, oh yeah, that's right. She has trouble pronouncing certain words, doesn't she?
Oh yeah. And later on, Finn's daughter popped up and Rachel was watching with me, and I don't think she heard me, but I really wanted her to engage in what I said. The daughter shows up and I'm like, say mech suit. And I just wanted Rachel to be like, what the hell are you talking about? But she was so disengaged.
She's just deep in TikTok on her phone. I'm
sure.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, we're watching Sharknado. I no longer have a vagina.
How you ever get laid with the amount of these shitty movies you love?
Oh, and she watches like most of them with me too. Then sometimes she's like making fun of it, and I'm like, just remember, you have to grade this on a completely different scale than you would like a real summer blockbuster. It's all different. It's the Asylum scale.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there's
true.
a movie like Sidekicks where you have to grade it on what I've called the canon scale.
Sidekicks has to be graded on both the canon scale and the kids movie scale.
Yeah. So you got two things working for that one.
Yeah.
Or against it, however you wanna think about that. So Gil has apparently been going all over time to save these random characters from these movies, and they're fucking. We'll get more of them later too.
I mean, saving his mom makes sense. Yeah. Saving Nova makes sense. Gil was close to both of them.
Yes.
The rest of them,
but Brian, and later,
was he even alive? He wasn't even alive for Brian.
No, he was not. I'm sure his dad maybe told him about him.
I guess whether he was alive or not depends on your stance on abortion. But he was born at the end of that movie after Brian was already dead.
Was he born? Was she pregnant in part 2?
Yes, he got birthed inside the shark when she was falling.
That was in 3, I thought.
I thought that was 2.
That was in 3. Because she loses her hand in part 2.
That's right. She loses her hand in part 2. Yeah, so in either case, it doesn't matter.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
It's still before he was born.
Yep.
Same thing with fucking Vivica Fox. What was her character's name?
Sky.
That's right. Same thing with Sky. Sky died in the previous movie.
My guess is that Finn has told these stories
Oh, that's fair.
to
yeah.
Gil.
Yeah, that's
and
fair. And
that's
now,
how he
don't get me
knows.
wrong. I'm glad Vivica Fox is back. But it's ridiculous.
So they've been waiting for Finn for a year in prehistoric times, and I'm like, well, it's funny that Nova still looks like the same and super hot, and her hair hasn't grown, her eyebrows look great. Fucking Tara Reid, it looks like Tara Reid,
Yeah,
but the same.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. With Nova's coloring and hair type, she was going to bush out pretty hard in ancient times.
So the idea here is that they're all like, why the fuck are we here? And then they're like, we have to do. Oh, Nova says we got to do what we do best, save the world or whatever. And the idea is that they have to start at the first Sharknado and just go to every subsequent Sharknado after that, because according to Brian, who is when he's a black woman, he's a physics teacher or some shit. But when he's back to being a white guy, he's a history teacher for 25 years. So I don't know what to believe. We'll get to that. If you're confused by
now,
that,
here's the
good.
further question: was he actually a history teacher, or did he just become a history teacher in that timeline?
Oh shit! Yeah, the time travel shit. Like they try to make it make sense, but it doesn't really.
Well, they're smart in that they're like, yeah, it just gets weird. We don't really understand it.
Yeah, and that's
Little changes can throw
that's actually
things off.
a good call, because Back to the Future does that same shit. When they can't explain stuff, they're like, "Cuz time travel's weird." We have the meteors, essentially, that killed the dinosaurs and the first Sharknado. They're all coming at the same time, and this is the fucking ridiculous crap that you're going to be. This basically sets up all the crazy you're going to see. So, and there's also a running plot point where they see Gil at all these different time periods. Like, he's apparently, like, inadvertently creating these Sharknados.
And he's also boating into the Sharknado, so apparently Gil doesn't have to get up to 88 miles
not in
per
this
hour.
one. Not in this one. He's little kid Finn or Gil from the last movie, but then every time they see him, he's a little bit older.
Right. So Gil got transported back to this one, like 60 million years in the past,
and keeps on spending a bunch of time
is.
at all these places.
But he was only there long enough to get thrown into the very first Sharknado, apparently.
Yes. So the idea here is that, just like in the first movie, they need a big all these movies, I guess, they need a big explosion to make the tornado dissipate. And like okay, let's get on the fucking pterodactyl and start using my giant baseball bat to knock these meteors into the tornado. And they're like, wait, we can't do that. It's not enough heat. So Finn jumps off the fucking pterodactyl, jumps onto a shark, opens the shark's mouth, starts filling the shark up with all these meteors, and then I don't even know how the fuck.
No, then he jumps off the shark, and the pterodactyl whacks a meteor into the shark, blowing it into the NATO, and then the meteors explode because in this world, meteors are bombs that just go off occasionally.
Yeah. Because that make sense. Don't make that make sense. And then, so, naturally, they kill the Sharknado, and then they go into a time-nado, which is only used one time, that term, which is a bummer.
When was that in
Brian says it real quick. He's like, dude, it's a time-nado. And then they fly the pterodactyl into, like, King Arthur times.
Yes, but they think they're back in the 21st century.
Yeah, they think, because at first I'm like, wait, that line didn't make any sense, because he's like, we just brought a dragon into the 21st century, what the fuck? Except it's not he, it's she, because he's now a black woman.
Yeah, Brian became a black woman in the time transport.
And then we get our first few cameos. We get Merlin, played by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Who's
a terrible fucking actor.
Yes.
But
yes, he's very bad.
I'm here for it.
I just found out, apparently, Neil deGrasse Tyson also has some sexual assault allegations against him.
Yes.
So one more sex offender to add to the Sharknado, the long list of Sharknado sex offenders.
I heard about that. It bummed me out.
Sharknado cannot stay away from the sex offenders.
We just can't have nice things. And how about Morgana? Oh my god. So this
Morgana's pretty great. I don't know who they are, but oh my god, are they hilarious.
We had to look it up. It's a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race. And I don't know if that means they are a drag queen who, I don't know what they identify as, so they is perfectly acceptable name.
Isn't it like Alaska Thunderfuck or something
Alaska
like that?
Thunderfuck.
They just bill them as Alaska in the end credits.
Yes,
but
because it's a TV movie.
Oh my god.
Alaska
They are
Thunderfuck.
so over the top and kind of perfect in this role.
And I had to look up Morgana. Morgana's like the sister of Arthur in Arthurian legend, and she's not entirely into Arthur.
She was like an antagonist to Merlin too. Like she was like an evil sorceress or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know a whole lot about Arthurian legend, but my mom took some classes back in college when I was like 8. So I'm like, oh
everything I know about Arthurian legend I learned from like the Sean Connery movie and Excalibur.
Oh, dude, I've never seen Excalibur, but I really want to.
And the Children's Illustrated Classics version of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Well, I watched the movie that was based on that, A Kid in King Arthur's Court.
Oh, you know what? I think I probably saw that too.
And then they made like this semi-sequel with the same kid called A Kid in Aladdin's Palace. Really? And that's actually the first one I saw. I saw the Aladdin's Palace one first.
They made 2 of those, huh?
They sure did.
Interesting.
Weird,
the Kid in King Arthur's Court kind of makes sense, and then the Kid in Aladdin's Palace makes sense if you remember what the Michael Eisner Disney 90s were like.
I don't think it was a Disney movie.
I'm pretty sure Kid in King Arthur's Court was
that
Disney.
One is a Disney movie. The other one was not.
What?
Yeah.
But they got the same kid.
Yeah. I don't understand how I don't understand how movie rights work. Maybe they got rid of it. They're just like, I don't want this shit. Here, have it.
Okay. All right, whatever. I don't know.
So also, apparently Gil spent 10 years hanging out in this time, like just hanging out with Merlin and teaching him things, and they're teaching each other things and trying to figure out how to...
And now he's in his 30s.
Either the actor that they have, it's not the Shermanator yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, that's right. He doesn't show up until the next one. Yeah, okay. No, so yeah, I guess if this guy were like 20-ish...
But he looks older, though. It's weird.
He definitely looks older.
And then all they give you is this one token close-up of his face, and he just has his mouth open going into the Sharknado. Like, dude. And yeah, so now Brian is a physics teacher as the black lady, but is later a history teacher, something, maybe, whatever. And so Finn has been carrying around April's robot head, and nobody's really mentioned it, and he hasn't...
Oh, yeah, it comes out here, and April ain't none too stoked about it.
Yeah, like everybody's just kind of like, hey man, you've been carrying that bag around a lot. Like you seem really, really like protective of it. And I'm like, does he? Like it's literally.
Well, he fought a Tyrannosauraptor for it.
Who goes and grabs it from him? Was it Nova?
It was Nova or April, one or the other.
They grab it and the head falls out, and then April's robot head rolls over to regular April. She's like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, she's weirded out.
And then he's like, no, don't worry, it's just for sex.
That's what I was thinking. And she's like, the real April's like, did you...
It's robotic. It vibrates when you press on the ear.
So you loved her more than me? I'm like, okay, keep in mind, you got rescued by Gil before the shark crushed you.
He thought you were dead and had been reconstructed as... Well, all right, she didn't know. She didn't know. And I got to side with Finn on this one. How do you broach that? How do you broach that subject? Like, come on.
Holy shit, you want to see your head?
You're alive. You're not going to believe what's in this bag. I have been convinced for the last several years that you died and were turned into a robot, which I fell in love with.
And it's weird because like Gary Busey made you into a robot, and then Olivia Newton-John made you into a hot robot. Which I'm glad Gary Busey didn't turn you into a hot robot because that's your dad. These movies are fucking insane. And I love it. And they don't let up either. Like, they don't have time for... This one actually has a lot of time for character development, which kind of weirded me out a little bit, but not the kind of character development you'd think.
Yeah, I mean, it's Sharknado character development, but yeah, I mean, this fucking movie just clips along fast.
Yeah, so we're going to go out. We got to go after the Sharknado. There's a Sharknado
Of course there's a Sharknado. Oh, and by the way, Merlin's, like, servant lady is... Marina Sirtis from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
She's a Star Trek person.
Deanna Troi in Star Trek: The Next Generation,
which didn't click with me at all.
It was like one of my first crushes. Like I was single digits when I had a crush on her.
Also, you knew. I've never watched Star Trek really.
No, I literally just bought the entirety of Next Generation on DVD.
I am kind of interested.
Next Generation's rad as hell. It's a really good show.
I'm not interested in that yet. I want to watch the original series.
It may not be your thing. I'm just saying it may not be your thing. I feel like Next Generation would be more your thing.
I'm just assuming because of all the dumb costumes and the horrible acting that there
is plenty of that.
Yeah.
It's good stories. You know, they are good stories. Broke a lot of new ground for the time. But Next Generation's where it's at. For me, like, Yeah, Next Generation's where it's at. And I love Deep Space Nine too, but
Let's go after this dumb Sharknado with your Star Trek babe. She's kind of hot, so I'm not so mad at it. Morgana shows up and she's like, "Hey, yo," or they. Well, Morgana, I don't know what the fuck.
well, Morgana's a female character.
Yes, Morgana shows up and says, "Hey, man, I can help you fucking fight these things because you know, and in exchange for that, you're gonna help me get the fucking sword out of the stone because magic apparently doesn't work on that, but magic's gonna work on this thing, but only science will work to get the sword out of the stone, which was put there by magic. Don't think about it too hard, like I'm doing right now."
Yeah, no. If you overthink this one, your brain's just gonna crack.
Morgana just ends up going like, "Fuck you guys," and turns the sharks into dragon sharks.
Yep. And now they're fire-breathing dragon sharks, which is great because one ends up cooking her in the end. So
the Star Trek lady goes off and she's like, "I'm gonna go get a dragon or some shit." Yeah, she's gonna go get the dragon. That's the only way to fight dragons, with another dragon. It's like only a ninja can kill a ninja. You gotta fucking
precisely.
Yeah. And the dragon in this case is a pterodon. So of course Finn is gonna be the chosen one and pull Excalibur out of the stone.
And it's a fucking chainsaw.
Of course it's a chainsaw because
it's a chainsaw sword.
They
It's so fucking stupid. I love it.
They fought the studio. They were like, "We're gonna have a prophecy thing here." It's like, no, the movie's already long enough. It has to fit in 2 hours. Chill the fuck out. Fine. You know what we're gonna do? Instead of that, fine. We're just gonna end the movie with a big sci-fi nonsense fucking future. So Excalibur looks like a chainsaw. He raises it to the sky, and it's just like lightning all the fucking sharks away, and that cooks the fucking Sharknado and shit. And then there's a time jump. There's gonna be a time jump every like 5 minutes.
Yep.
We're in colonial times. The colonial times apparently has the best buffet in town. Don't know if you saw that. There's like a sign that says "Best Buffet."
What?
Yeah. And then regular Brian is back. We get some Offspring cameos because we finally got literal licensed music in the last movie, and it was an Offspring song, and now the Offspring are in the movie.
That threw me off so hard because they don't look like they used to look. You know what I mean?
Because they're fucking old, man.
No. I get it. Like, yeah, people age. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not shitting on anybody, but you know, it's like I did not recognize them at all. And then an Offspring song starts, and I just look over at my roommate. I was like, yeah, because nothing says Colonial Williamsburg like fucking the Offspring. And then they cut back to the British guys on the boat. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Are those the guys from the Offspring?
And they're like, yeah,
sure enough.
They're like these British soldiers, and they get dispatched pretty quick. They have a couple lines. They don't do anything. They're just kind of there for us to go, ooh, look, the Offspring. Some of the most famous humans that have been in this entire franchise. Which is funny because they're not really all that famous anymore.
They were for a minute.
Well, I mean, Bret Michaels was super famous once. And so
Bret Michaels was super famous. So was Vince Neil, Neil deGrasse Tyson. There were a lot of fame. I mean, honestly, let's be honest. Jared from Subway. Not the good kind of famous anymore.
So, of course, now they have to stop this Sharknado that's coming because if they don't stop it, it'll stop the revolution and America won't exist. And, you know, this is one of the most jingoistic franchises in the entire fucking world. So we need to save America.
Of course we do.
You know who the best person in the world to save the world is? A gay Ben Franklin.
Leslie Jordan.
Love
Leslie Jordan.
A tiny little gay Ben Franklin, which is the best
God.
cameo in the fucking whole movie.
Oh my God.
That made me so happy.
So much.
Especially because we recently lost him, so it was just a nice.
Yep.
That was a good one. That made me very
looking
happy.
good after getting his face dipped in the fryer and Jason goes.
Oh
to
yeah,
hell.
absolutely.
He recovered well from that one.
And then Nova meets her several times great grandfather, and
I literally had a moment where she like sneaks away, and I'm like, Nova's not gonna go fuck her great granddad, is she?
Be like Fry in fucking Futurama. Oh, I'm taking advice or whatever from Mr. I'm my own grandpa. That's Futurama gets deep into its own lore there for a minute.
You know,
Fry.
I've never made it past season 1.
Really, Fry literally ends up saving the world because of something, the way his brain works, because he's his own grandfather. It's like he goes back in time and fucks his grandma.
Gross.
And then like several episodes or several seasons later, these ball aliens, they're balls, they're just bouncy balls. They come to destroy the world, but they can control everybody except for Fry because of the way his brain works. Because he fucked his grandma.
That's so gross.
Hey, he didn't know it was his grandma when he fucked her.
Well, that's fair. I mean,
and she was hot.
I'm not gonna lie. I've seen pictures of my grandma when she was younger. If I'd have met her back then, I don't know.
Gross.
I know, right? It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
And they also meet George Washington, who sounds more like Bill Clinton. But
it's Daryl Hammond full on doing his Clinton impression.
Okay,
he's
so
even got the Southern accent.
What is he from?
And everything.
What is he?
Saturday Night Live.
Okay,
he did Bill Clinton on Saturday Night Live
okay.
for years.
Oh, so he was really just doing his.
He was just doing his very famous Bill Clinton impression. That's all that was.
So I probably saw him back in the day.
Oh, guaranteed.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, and it's great. And then, and this is where we learn that Brian is a history teacher now.
Yeah. And I honestly cannot say for sure if he was a history teacher before. I don't know.
And then Ben Stein is Alexander Hamilton.
Which is pretty perfect.
And then they do the Hamilton, Washington thing. Oh my god. The cameos in this they're all ridiculous and stupid, but
they are characters serving a purpose within the movie, and I have to applaud that. I have to, because seriously, it sucked so bad in in part 4 when it was just a series of nonsensical cameos. The fact that every cameo is a character. Oh, it's I'm so glad that's how they went out.
And just so everybody knows, electrified cannonballs will definitely explode, because that's the plan that Finn comes up with to save to
Cannonballs are bombs. You didn't know that? Cannonballs, they're bombs.
They're not just giant hunks of metal that get fired out of a thing at high speeds, which is why they're dangerous.
No, they're bombs. They explode.
Oh god, it makes no fucking sense.
Haven't you ever seen one of those old timey bombs with the little wick coming out of it? That's a cannonball.
Oh, that is a good point, man. Then we get.
By the way, young people listening, I'm lying. They're not. They're just hunks of metal. That's all they are.
I do appreciate the moment where Finn is trying to rally these revolutionary troops.
Yeah, he's
don't
like, give a shit.
We're fighting for America and shit or whatever. And then he's just like, they just dead silent look at him, and he's like, okay, whatever. Just fire the fucking cannons.
After he gives a speech after speech in every single movie, he does one of these speeches, and to have it just fall flat
it had to happen at some
perfect.
point.
It's perfect.
Every fucking time he's given it, everybody's like, "Yeah, America!" And then they fucking shoot the cannonballs into the tornado. Fucking God bless America. That shit.
Oh, and they pack fireworks, or excuse me, they don't even pack fireworks.
We see a
Nova
box
just
with fireworks.
Unwraps a firework and dumps the gunpowder into the cannon as if they weren't already using gunpowder in the cannon.
That's okay, because Nova's a dumbass. She's trying to ruin the entire future. She writes this note and passes it off to her great times whatever grandfather. And then Finn just happens upon them, and he's like, no, you know what? I'll take that. And then the dude's just like, yeah, okay. Well, you're a bad soldier, sir. Jesus. Taking stuff from a random person and then letting another random person just take it back from I don't know. So it says, like, hey, Grandpa, who's going to be born for 200 years, don't go fishing that day that you get killed by a shark, because as you remember, Nova's entire existence is based on how much she hates sharks. She wants them all dead, dust, or whatever she fucking says in the last movie. I'm like,
was it the last? I thought it was the second movie, but
well, she probably said she wasn't in the second movie.
Oh no, that's right. It was the third when she comes back and she's like,
yeah, we learn that she hates sharks, but then she really doubles down by creating the Shark Sisterhood in part 5.
The Shark Sisterhood. Oh my god.
And then as her great times whatever grandfather is walking away, he's walking with somebody else, and he puts his arm around him and goes, hey, let me buy you a drink.
Private Shepherd.
Yes. Like, okay, sure. So they were just all hanging out forever?
Well, no, the best thing is that Finn met Nova on the West Coast 200 plus years later.
Yeah. But they were bros 200 years prior.
Their grandparents apparently were
best
buddies
on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, weirder things have happened, I suppose.
In this franchise, actually, yes.
And then Finn tears up the note and just giant fucking chunks and just leaves it on the ground.
Yeah.
Like
Not very socially responsible there, Finn. It's called litter, and it's part of what is ruining America.
Then April helps Ben Franklin fucking discover electricity and shit with the key. He's like, why isn't this working? And then she's like, you need this, and it's the fucking key. And then Brian decides he's going to stick around because he's a fucking history teacher, and he's been teaching history for 25 years, and he finally gets a chance to live it. And Nova's like, dude, what the fuck, Finn? You're just going to let him stay there. And she's just like, fine, fuck it. But
no, Nova's not wrong, because Finn is
not
completely hypocritical about this whole thing. She's absolutely right. Finn is traveling all throughout history, doing all this wild shit to rescue his kid, but he's like, you let your grandpa die. Nova's right. I'm on Nova's side on this.
But he does. He actually comes up with a thing. Your grandfather wasn't killed by a Sharknado, so that could actually fuck up something. They need to get up to 88 miles per hour, and how they do that is there's a bunch of TNT or gunpowder. Right? TNT. They don't have TNT. It's a bunch of gunpowder on the back of this,
strapped to the back of the fucking car. It's like a horse-drawn carriage thing, and they light it, and it just blows up and rockets them forward. Like that would work.
Yeah, no, it makes
instead of just blowing the cart to smithereens. And then it shoots them into the sky.
And then we get transported to the fucking Wild West, and Dee Snider is Sheriff Ron. And I swore to God, oh my God, they don't show Billy the Kid's whole face. It was just his eyes, and I'm like, not a fucking chance, because I thought it was
Ben Shapiro.
Yes, I did.
So did I. And then it kind of pulls back, and it's not him, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
Oh God!
Because this dude looks a lot like Ben Shapiro, upsettingly like Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, when they pull away, it's not Ben Shapiro, but those eyes. Oh my God, that was upsetting, and I'm just like, fuck this! I'm turning this off. It was so funny. Oh my God. So this carriage like lands right in the middle of this like weird. What do you call it? Standoff between Billy the Kid and Sheriff Ron and shit. Dee Snider, fucking given the performance of a goddamn lifetime in this movie.
He can't even hold the fucking gun right. He so clearly has no idea how to hold a gun.
But you know what? I'm here for it. Way better than the Bret Michaels cameo.
Oh, I love Dee Snider. I love the man. I really do.
So Billy the Kid runs away. Finn gets arrested. Everybody else is hiding. Everybody else is fucking April and Nova. Now we're hiding because Brian got left behind. The other two get held at gunpoint for like a fraction of a second, but it turns out it's Sky. Yay, she's been waiting for them too.
Yep, and it turns out Billy the Kid was gonna break
Gil
out of...
Gil, sorry.
Yeah, Shermanator as Gil out of the clink and save his life, but...
Yeah, he's fucking Gil.
Yeah, but Finn accidentally dropped a fucking horse carriage into the middle of the gunfight, and Billy had to run for his life.
Yep. So what is he doing just hanging out in these places? Shouldn't he be getting his ass in gear and fucking moving on quick? Gil, not Finn.
I don't know what Gil's motives are. They're not really explored.
Well, he's trying to save his family, but I don't know why the fuck he's just like hanging out in these places.
Well, he's got to grow up and become 70-year-old Dolph Lundgren.
That's true. Especially why is he joining up with Billy the Kid?
Billy the Kid said that he said he was from the future and that he'd take him to the future too, because there's a lot of good places for robbing. Because apparently Billy the Kid thinks it's going to be easier to rob people in the year 2000, which I don't think the Shermanator adequately explained to Billy the Kid law enforcement techniques in the 21st century, because it was way easier to get away with bank robbing back in the 1800s.
Oh yeah, just a little. So the Shermanator's about to be hanged because Billy isn't there to rescue him, and so Finn does this thing. He does this thing several times, especially in this particular scene where he realizes it's Gil, and then as Gil's being taken away, he goes, Gil, it's dad. I'm like, wait. So hang on. First of all, you already told Noah not to fucking do that.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm pretty sure you guys already had the conversation that you can't do that, otherwise he won't go back to get you guys.
Yeah.
So you need to fucking chill. And then, as they're leaving, he does it again in this exact same scene. So anyways, here comes the Sharknado. Nova and Sky, they save Gil and send him through the Time-Nado as he's about to be hanged.
Nova pulls out one of her shark knives.
Yeah, one of her cool shark knives.
And hurls it at the hangman's noose and cuts it just as Gil is getting hanged.
And then not Robot April uses Robot April's head to fire lasers at the Sharknado.
And then isn't someone like... One of them's like, wait a minute, we had that the whole time?
Yeah, I think so. You could do that the whole time? Oh my God. And the shark with so Billy the Kid comes back and he does that thing where he's like, oh, well, this guy said he was going to take me into the future, and I maybe I should just go instead of you because it's rife for the robbing. And he's like a megalomaniacal crazy person. And then Eventually, he's gonna shoot Finn, and a fucking shark comes and bites his arm off, and then the shark comes flying at Finn with the gun arm
Still
and it's
pulling the
firing.
trigger.
But there's another time jump. Who cares? Like,
And then another shark he's like, I ain't dead yet.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
and then
another
the
shark
shark comes
lands on him, and that shark's name was Pat Garrett.
Ooh, was that a history joke?
Pat Garrett's the man who killed Billy the Kid.
Very nice. Well, history's gonna change.
That's true.
All the Back to the Future references. I made one myself.
Oh man,
I made one that nobody ever makes because
they're going to get Back to the Future, and there's going to be no Back to the Future. Because if Billy the Kid got killed by a shark instead of Pat Garrett, what's going to inspire the writing of the original Back to the Future?
I don't know. I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Obviously, it must have, because they end up going to the Old West in the third one. So
yeah, but Billy the Kid's not there.
Of course, Billy the Kid's not there. They didn't want to be too obvious about it, Andrew. Come on, use your head.
Because he got eaten by a shark. Yep.
My logic is Sharknado flawless.
So now they time jump to the fucking 60s or some shit, 50s, 60s.
I think it's the 60s.
And
early 60s, like pre-hippie 60s.
And Rand McDonald is doing a report. It's fucking Gilbert Gottfried again.
Is he playing the same character or a different character?
He is playing an ancestor of.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Character.
That's what I thought.
Because he's Rand McDonald in this one. He's the Ronald McDonald.
Oh,
in the last
that's
one.
right. That's
or
right.
Ron McDonald.
That's right. I love that he's like, and they're playing a song that's #1 with a bullet to the head. Because that's how they talked on TV in the 60s.
Absolutely. And then Gil, we see Gil, who is no longer the Shermanator.
Yeah, now he's some old fucker who,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to believe becomes Dolph Lundgren in about a decade.
None of these Gil actors look anything like the last one.
No. They
At
all
all.
look drastically different from each other.
And now Gil is going to surf right into the Sharknado.
Yep.
Finn's parents are there on the beach, played by Tori Spelling and her husband or boyfriend or whatever.
They're supposed to be in their 20s.
Yeah, which is fun because they were on the show together.
I love that. No, yeah, there's the Tori Spelling has the line like, "You seem so familiar. Did we go to high school together?" Also, I love that Tori Spelling's husband is supposed to eventually grow up to be David Hasselhoff, and
Yeah.
he looks about 10 years younger than modern David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, and they're like hanging out. They like each other. They're gonna but I would never be into this dork. Tee hee hee hee. And he's like, "You really think I'm a dork?" And then the Sharknado comes, of course, and they use their fancy science lasers.
The guy's like,
do it.
I hope. What did he say? It's like JBL or something.
JBL. That's what I thought I heard. I hope JBL doesn't get mad at me for
apparently,
taking the fucking thing.
because my roommate is a repository of weird, obscure knowledge and sciencey stuff. Apparently, that's the Air Force base where NASA got its start.
Oh, not the speaker company or the electronics company or whatever.
No, it's the Air Force base specifically that NASA got its start on.
So you know the drill here. They use a giant laser to fucking kill the Sharknado.
Yep.
Then
Because of course Finn's dad has access to this sci-fi laser in 1962 or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, we forgot to mention that Rand McDonald calls the Sharknado a shark and roll NATO. They make the comment like, if you're from the future, tell me something about us. And Tara Reid's like, you guys fall in love. They're like, no, with this dork.
And the next thing they're all making out.
Yeah, they're fucking in 5 minutes.
Fucking in the sand right in front of their future child.
they use Dad's fancy car to get up to 88 miles per hour so they can do the time jump again.
Which admittedly is a fucking really cool car.
So time jump, but it's not to the right time because apparently the little capacitor, they call it, that looks like a flux capacitor, but it's not a flux capacitor. It's like a flux capacitor shoved into a PKE meter without the little flappy things on the side.
Yep.
Nova's like, "Oh, I'll get us to the right year." She fucks it up. They get to what looks like modern times, like normal 21st century times.
And then there's two teenage girls walking by going, What did they say?
Are you gonna go see the Spice Girls again? Or are you gonna watch fucking Titanic for the 10th time?
Like, okay, could you not lay it on quite so thick, please?
I'm like, ooh, it doesn't get much more 97 than that. That is the year apparently that Nova's grandfather got killed by the shark.
Yes.
So her grandpa is played by fucking Greg Brady.
I knew he was a Brady.
Well,
I couldn't peg him down. I couldn't say for sure who he was.
Yeah.
I was like,
It took me a minute.
Who do I know this guy from? Where have I seen this guy? And then I like near the end of it or something like that, I looked over at my roommate. I'm like, was he a Brady maybe?
Oh, he was on that reality show My Fair Brady. That's what it was. A spinoff of the Surreal Life season that he was on with whatever chick that was that he got married from America's Next Top Model.
He was on The Surreal Life?
Yeah, because he was a washed up fucking celebrity.
I know he's a washed up celebrity. I didn't know he was on The Surreal Life. I mean, yeah, it sounds perfectly on brand, but
how do you think Flavor Flav and Bridget Nielsen fucked? They met on The Surreal Life.
I know, but I actually saw that season. I didn't see any of the subsequent seasons. I saw the one with Flavor Flav and Bridget Nielsen and Ron Jeremy and Tammy Faye Baker. I remember that. Or were those separate seasons?
I don't know now. I do remember the one with David Coulier.
The very first season, Ron Jeremy and Tammy Faye Baker became like best friends.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that season, but I did see the Flavor Flav
Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah,
season.
okay, so it was this is fucking weird. It was Jordan Knight, Flavor Flav, David Coulier, some chick from American Idol.
David Coulier. Who the fuck calls him David Coulier?
That's his name, isn't it?
It's Dave Coulier.
Whatever.
Everybody says Dave Coulier.
Fucking Alanis Morissette's ex-boyfriend. and it was Charo.
Oh, that's right, Charo. Yeah.
Charo, who now looks like a fucking alien. Sorry, Charo, you went a little too far, maybe.
Again, I can't judge anybody who's in entertainment and does that. It's more sad. It bums me out.
She looks like a Beetlejuice character.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I know.
But yeah, and and then there was the season with China and Vern Troyer.
That one I did not see.
And China took, no, it wasn't China that took his. Was it? Somebody took Vern Troyer's room that he had designed specially for himself, and then he got super drunk and pissed in the corner a bunch of times, and now he's dead.
Oh, I think Corey Feldman was in that first season with Ron Jeremy.
Oh yeah, because I think I definitely
because he talks about it in choreography
Yes.
how they would like do these leading questions. And he was like, I don't really want to say that, guys, and
that's reality TV.
And they're like, come on, just say it. How about? And then he said a version of the thing they wanted him to say, and they spliced out the things he said to make it sound like he said this really shitty thing. At least that's what he claims. I don't know. I wasn't there, but that is what Corey claims.
I mean,
and I'm not disinclined to believe him on that one.
No, I definitely believe him. Reality show producers are fucking heartless. Even though Corey Feldman's out of his fucking mind.
Oh, he is. Yeah, for sure.
Even though he was right about a few things.
Yep. He was right about a few things.
But we're having fun. We're not talking about that serious shit. Anyways, I'm pretty sure Brian's face is on the $20 bills or whatever.
Yes.
But it doesn't look like they actually printed new money. It looks like they
just CGI'd a shitty
did
little
they CGI on it?
It
It doesn't even look like they did that. It looks like they like drew it with like a Sharpie.
No, it looks like they drew it in the computer and then superimposed it onto the money really badly.
Okay, so it looks like shit either way.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
That was funny. I couldn't tell if it was right or not. If I'm like, wait,
it's so bad.
I watched it twice and I couldn't figure it out.
It's so bad.
So they're getting on. All four of them are on Grandpa's boat now because Nova shows up and she's talking to her younger self, played by, I don't know if it's her daughter or little sister or somebody.
Kid.
Well, it's played by a Serbo person.
Oh, so it is a relative.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I did not catch that.
It's a charter, yeah. So he's like, that'll be $20. I'm like, you can just do that. You just like, I'm gonna show up for the charter and here's $20. Okay, sure. Also, all these random strangers just randomly showing up with your granddaughter on board. Sure.
He's just totally cool with it. Well, hey, it had been some years since he'd gotten any Brady money, so he had to fucking get it where he could get it.
So they're on the boat. They get caught on this reef, and there's tons of sharks. No Sharknado yet.
No. They don't just get caught on the reef.
Slam
Nova
into
fucking
it.
steers them into the reef.
Oh, that's right. And she's like, "Oh my god, I'm the reason my grandpa died."
So the implication here is that everything they're doing was already destined to happen, and they had already been through here and caused the whole thing in the first place. But then they do end up saving her grandpa, and so it completely undoes the logic of that whole thing.
Yeah, which is a time travel story thing where everything's already happened. The only reason it happened is because you happened to be there. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. I hate fucking time travel, but I love it also at the same time.
12 monkeys, baby.
It's just
La jetée.
just fuck you and your French bullshit. Go read the Planet of the Apes book and shut up. Which is also a French story.
Is there a book?
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes was a book first?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
A French book, because French people come up with weird shit.
I had no fucking clue. I just remember the Charlton Heston movies.
You're a plebeian.
Which, by the way, the first 2 Charlton Heston movies.
Oh, you know what? You know what
Not
else is
just
awesome?
that first one.
Rise, Dawn. They're all fucking great, and you're an asshole.
I liked the sequel to the original Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, specifically because it ended the franchise.
Well, these aren't continuing the franchise. They're starting a new franchise.
I'm not trying to shit on your new franchise. You're welcome to it. I'm just saying that I like the original 2, but I don't want to see any sequels. I only want those original 2 because I feel like it was good that way. It should have ended at 2, and it was great that it ended at 2. And this is a new franchise. I'm not commenting on this franchise that you've got this huge fucking boner for that you've been talking about on multiple episodes now.
Because you like good movies, and you're like, I don't want to fucking watch those movies. And I'm like, yeah, you're just fucking wrong.
I'm not trying to I watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
That doesn't count.
It did nothing for me. It wasn't a bad movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It just didn't capture my interest.
Because it's a good movie. You gotta move on. You gotta Dawn is better.
I don't want to see it because
And
I
then War
didn't
is
care
better.
about Rise. I didn't.
Dawn is better, and then War is the best one, and then the new one's pretty fucking awesome.
I don't care. I don't need another franchise. It doesn't capture my interest. When I saw the trailer for the new Planet of the Apes movie, I just tuned out immediately.
Well, I don't watch trailers for shit anyways. And that's you. You made me do that. Now I literally don't watch any fucking trailers.
My work here is done.
That one time I watched that Creed trailer, Creed 3, and it kind of spoiled Drago coming back. Granted, he doesn't
for one scene.
He doesn't return in that epic shot that we get in the trailer. He returns way earlier than that, and it's way less important, way less special.
Can we get back to Sharknado? This movie is all.
Shit!
We're so close.
Oh my god! There's gonna be a Planet of the Apes reference later.
Wait.
Oh my god! We'll get there.
What?
Yes. Oh, that's fun.
Oh, that's right. I
didn't even
missed
mean to do
opportunity.
that.
By the way,
Damn it!
I got upset with that afterwards because they blew what could have been one of the best lines of the movie.
Nova does the Princess Bride thing. Like, I'm Nova, whatever the fuck my last name is. You killed my grandfather. Prepare to die. She stabs the fucking shark in the face.
And then she gets eaten by a fucking shark.
Yeah, so Finn saves the grandpa and then, like, little Nova. And then Nova ends up getting eaten by the shark. Kind of. Like, she gets pulled into the water. April tries to save her. And then her and April both get eaten by the sharks. And then April's head fucking falls to the ground. April's robot head, by the way. It's so fucking confusing. It is so hard to explain. It's just so weird. I'm writing notes, and it's just like that. Okay, regular April, and then robot April's head, not robot April.
Okay, evil robot April, good robot April.
So yeah, so now it's just Finn and Sky are left on this boat. They still have the capacitor. It's going all crazy, and apparently sharks and trains go 90 miles an hour.
Yep. Because Finn hooks a shark and it drags them up to 88 miles per hour.
And then they jump to a post-apocalyptic setting. It's 20,013.
Yeah, because the capacitor is adding too many zeros.
Yes. There's fucking flying metal sharks, and they're just as easy to take out as the regular metal sharks. Which amused me.
No, the best part is when Finn's like, I guess that's how sharks evolved over the last 10,000 years. Mind you, sharks haven't changed a bit in 60 million years.
So now they're like, well, what's going on here? Like, what's happening? And then a bunch of people start coming and aiming guns at them. And we see one. It's like, holy fuck, it's April. And we see another one. It's like, oh fuck, it's April. And it's just like,
it's all Aprils.
All Aprils. And what is the missed opportunity that you were gonna
go ahead and give Vivica's line?
It's an army of Aprils. It's a planet of the Aprils.
And I said to my roommate, I was like, if he doesn't say at some point, or one of them, it doesn't necessarily have to be Finn, but it should be Finn, realistically, doesn't say, get your hands off me, you damn dirty Aprils. Missed opportunity. And he never does.
Oh, that's great. No, that would be perfect. So they start escorting them.
Because they're clearly the bad guys. They're capturing them at gunpoint.
Yeah, it's
the
just
Aprils are clearly bad Aprils.
It's honestly just like Planet of the Apes if you think about it. So they go in, they get escorted into this building, and Finn says a line that makes so little sense. He says,
in this movie?
Yes. Oh, even in this movie.
So it was remarkable even for Sharknado.
Yes.
How am I not remembering?
It was a movie reference, and he says, I wonder what Deadpool we're on.
What?
And I'm like...
I don't think that's what he said.
He said that. He said, I wonder what Deadpool movie we're on.
Oh, because it was 20,000 years in the future.
Yeah, but I'm like, Deadpool's the reference?
I think at that time...
There had been 2 Deadpool movies.
Well, that's the thing. I think at that time they had done one, and then a new one had come out like really, really fast after.
But that's the one? Like, what about Spider-Man? By 2018, there'd already been 5 fucking Spider-Man movies.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm thinking like 6 fucking X-Men movies. So like... 2018? Marvel movies. I wonder what Marvel movie we're on. It just seems like a weird specific reference.
You're right. Yeah, a Spider-Man would have been a better callback because
Batman,
yeah. Something that already had a lot of movies under its belt.
Fuck it. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
The only thing I can think is because Deadpool was really, really hot at that moment, and they had come out with a second one like really fast after that first one. I think it was like, what was like a year and a half, 2-year turnaround tops.
It was 2, like a normal sequel turnaround.
That's still pretty fast. Like that implies it was greenlit before the first one even hit theaters.
Well, yeah, because they knew that was going to be huge. Because they're like, it's fucking R-rated. This is the Deadpool that you've been wanting. Sunday. I realized that's what that sounded like.
Speaking of which, I have to say I actually am excited about it.
No, it looks awesome.
Which I haven't been getting excited about a lot of movies lately, but Deadpool and Wolverine excites me.
So if you thought the movie was weird, it's only getting weirder from here, I think.
It's already an army of Aprils. How much weirder can it get?
There's an army of Aprils. They drag them in. They're all fucking chained up and stuff, whatever those things are. I'm calling them chains. They're not chains.
No, they're handcuffed, but it's like a handcuff that goes around the neck, and it's like rigid. It's like sex bondage gear. I think they actually do make bondage gear that like clamps around the neck and then around each of the hands with it's like a board, like one of those clap thing, and then it locks together at the end.
A bunch of them start saying, "The Queen is coming! The Queen is coming!" And wouldn't you know it, it's fucking Robot Head April. Why are we fucking splitting hairs?
Except she's got a new body now.
Except she's got a new body, and it's made of titanium. She'll tell you that later in a very horribly audio sounding line. Did you hear that? Like he hits her, and she's like, "Titanium."
I thought it was more like titanium. Like the way Tara Reid can't quite pronounce certain words.
I think she actually said titanium, but maybe she did say titanium in her very...
I don't know. I might be misremember. I might be imposing that from a different scene. But suffice to say, she comes down Borg Queen style, lowered out of the ceiling into the lower half of her body.
Yes.
And then it becomes Star Wars for a minute.
And then she has fucking human April in a preservation chamber or some
Looking
shit.
like fucking Snow White.
Yep. Oh, yep. The titanium. That explains it. That's why she's indestructible, apparently. Because there's like a shrine to Finn's like exploits, all of his weapons that he's used over the past several movies.
And he grabs the lightsaber one from the end of was that 2?
It was probably 4. It was probably
3.
4 because that was the Star Wars one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that you're probably right. No, it was the one where they were in space. I think that was 3.
That's 4. That's 4. All the weird shit happened in 4.
They went to space and then came back down, and that was the one where Tara Reid died because they come down in the shark. Yeah. But in space, on the space shuttle, he finds or on
That's right.
Whatever, he finds the lightsaber chainsaw. And so this scene is like straight the end of Return of the Jedi.
During a kerfuffle, I said, human April gets freed and fights Robot April. And
yes.
And it's basically just, because Tara Reid
is not exactly well choreographed.
She makes weird noises. She makes funny faces. I really want isolated audio.
God.
Just so I can throw it into this episode at random points. That would be beautiful. And okay, so then eventually after the fight, some shit goes down. It's too much. There's just a lot going on. There's another time jump. Let's just move on. So we're no longer in the future. We're in 2012, 2013, where the first movie takes place. We're back in the first movie. How
do they get back to the future? Or back to the present?
There's like this big electronic thing. Oh, by the way.
Oh, that's right. No, that's right. She says that the time travel, they don't need the speed if they have the power, and she has this big power column.
Yeah,
thing.
She has power, and they're like, how can you go back in time? Again, there's no way to do that. And she's like, it's if you have power, you can do anything you want.
Do anything if you have enough power.
She spent how she spent centuries perfecting time travel and shit. And
Yeah.
she spent $10,000, 10,000 years trying to forgive you, and then the other 10,000 trying to find you or some shit. Okay, chill the fuck out. That's obsession. That's a clone right there.
Suffice to say that he busts out the thing and somehow links it into her power grid, and it sends him back to the first
The very
Sharknado
beginning of the first movie.
the franchise.
Yeah. Like literally the beginning of the first movie where it's on the boat and Finn and everybody hadn't even been introduced yet.
Yep, where it's the shark fin dealers, but they are surprisingly well armed for shark fin dealers because they bust out some we just watched Rambo First Blood Part 2 the other night and they bust out the gun from Rambo First Blood Part 2 in this.
I don't think they're just shark fin dealers.
I don't think they are either. But that's what the whole, I mean, ostensibly that whole deal at the beginning of the first movie was for shark fins.
Yes. And this is where April's head gets caught in a fisherman's net, which she mentions earlier.
Yeah. Only Finn's there. And she's like, you came back for me.
So she's not going to turn into a psycho killer because it's only been like 40 years instead of
No, I don't even
10,
think it's been
000.
that. It's been since 97, so it's only been about 10.
Oh, 97. That's right. I was thinking 60s for some reason.
Oh, no, I guess it's maybe been
like
15.
15-ish.
15.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. That's a good one.
And then like they're all in love, and he seems to forget that she's robot April, not real April. And like they have a whole "I'll never stop loving you" thing kiss at the end of the whole thing even. And I'm like, didn't we have a whole argument about how this is robot April, not real April?
But technically it's the one that he's been living with for the past several years.
You know what? I understand divided loyalty. I understand like the ability to fall in love with two people simultaneously. I've been there. I get it.
But he didn't fall in love with two people simultaneously. That's the one that he's been in love with the whole time because the other one was dead.
But then when he found out she wasn't dead, he was like, "No, I've been in love with you, and I'll only ever be in love with you."
Because he's a liar and just didn't want to make the real one sad because he wanted to fuck flesh again.
I think the reality is Finn is incapable of reconciling the fact that he's in love with two women equally.
Apparently this Sharknado, though, is the one that could, like, collapse all of space and time for some reason.
This is the linchpin Sharknado because it's actually technically the first Sharknado.
And it's the dude has some big guns on his boat and a fucking chainsaw, of course. Gil shows up, too. Of
course he has a chainsaw, because who doesn't need a chainsaw on a boat?
You always need a chainsaw. If Finn's going to be there, you need a chainsaw.
And the guy was like, I feel like Finn might show up on this boat.
Well, I was actually wondering, because at first, like, Finn comes out with a giant gun and starts shooting at the fucking sharks. And I'm like, wait, there was a saw like, right up there.
Yeah, well, it was only a matter of time until Finn grabbed the chainsaw.
I was confused. I'm like, are they just fucking with me now? Like, but he has the fucking chainsaw. He uses the chainsaw and does exactly what he did in the first movie and just kind of like does all sorts of, he like leans backwards and matrixes his way through a fucking shark. That was the
second movie.
He does chainsaw shit in the first movie.
He does chainsaw shit, but the leaning back and zipping it in half, that was the second movie.
I keep saying to Rachel, I'm like, we just need to get the family together and have a big Sharknado marathon. That's 12 fucking hours, all 6 Sharknado movies. Let's just do it.
But there's also Heart of Sharkness. Now, it might not have been the last, but it is in there.
It doesn't. It's a supplemental movie.
But it is a movie, and it is about Sharknado.
We'll do it, but it's supplemental.
All right, but it's feature length.
Your mom is feature length.
At least I think it's feature length.
Let's talk about Gil.
All right.
Gil shows up and says, "Hey, give me head, Mom. Give me Mom's head."
It's the Shermanator again.
Yes, and he says, "Semper something or other."
He says, "Semper Fidelis, loyalty, or a shepherd is always loyal."
Yeah, and then
he goes,
Finn's like, "Semper."
It's Semper Paratus.
Who are you? And it's fucking evil robot April. Not good robot head April, but evil robot April.
Future robot April. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's psycho future robot April. That's what I wrote.
There you go.
Finn and good robot April get sucked into the Sharknado along with bad robot April. Good lord.
But it turns out bad robot April brought along a mecha shark.
Bad robot April and Finn, they end up breaking the capacitor or something. And they cause time to like...
April gets a hold of the capacitor. They fight over it.
Yeah, they're fighting over it.
And April gets a hold of it.
They break time.
Suddenly, people are fighting Sharknadoes all throughout history. And James Hong shows up as Confucius.
Yes.
And says, "You're in big trouble in Little China."
And I'm like, kind of racist, but I'm there for it.
It's James Hong. He can get away with it.
Yeah. No,
I'll let James Hong say anything he wants, quite frankly.
I know that made me very happy, and it was, and I'm like, that sounds exactly like him, but they didn't get him.
Yes,
for
they
this.
fucking did.
And then yeah, it gets to the end. I'm like, fuck yeah, they did. That's awesome. So yeah, so all these fucking things. Shad Gaspar, a fucking wrestler, shows up as Muhammad Ali and shit. It's weird.
He's like, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
So now April, evil psycho robot April from the future, ends up with the capacitor, and then she floats away and she's like, haha, fuck you. But she comes back in the mouth of a giant fucking mecha shark.
See,
Because
if she'd have just called it good enough and kept the
Yeah.
capacitor, she'd have survived this whole thing, but she didn't count on good April.
Also coming back in a shark head.
Yep.
But it's just her head in a shark
It's
head.
just her head in a shark's mouth. Apparently she used her jaw and her tongue to turn herself around in the shark's mouth.
Yeah, it's like that thing from The Thing.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. She probably grew some like antennae and legs and shit.
She probably has a nice tongue, man. She's a robot.
I bet she's
just-
good with it too.
That's
I mean,
gross.
she steered her when she was rolling across that deck. She steered herself straight to Finn, just using all she could have used was her jaw and tongue. That's all she has. Maybe her eyelids, I guess.
Yeah, I'm down. So, she also something about her needing to be recharged, but whatever, fuck it. And I called them the head lasers.
Yep.
The head lasers the shark and blows up Bad April. And
Yep.
There you go.
And then they're like, we gotta do something. I can't remember what the fuck they had to do.
I'll never let go, Finn. I'll never
Apparently,
let go.
making out is what they needed to do in order to stop the shark.
So, the idea is that the self-destruct button in her head, on her head, whatever, if they blow it up inside of the time thing, it could either repair time or completely destroy everything. And since everything's fucked anyways, you might as well just take the chance.
They're like, fuck it, 50-50.
So,
Let's roll those dice on the entirety of the universe.
yeah, instead of just like, we can die and occasionally some people might have some Sharknado nonsense going on, we're just gonna see what happens. So, guess what happens? They blow up her head.
They reset time.
Stumpy's revenge. I'm blowing up your head.
Why is Stumpy blowing up people's heads?
He's just a complicated guy. And it ends up resetting time, basically. And now we cut to the bar, and a bunch of characters from the previous movies are all there hanging out for some fucking reason.
And they even got John. They even got John Hurt in from some stock footage from the previous.
And
movie.
it's basically just cutting to him going,
yeah,
for the most part.
Although I will say they matched the lighting and everything really well, so that the shots don't look
No, they don't
wrong.
look, it doesn't
Honestly,
look
if
too
you
crazy.
didn't know John Hurt was dead, you wouldn't know.
You would just
Except-
kind of be like, he wasn't there the same day they were, was he?
Yeah, that's painfully obvious that they did not shoot all of them at the same time.
And for some reason, Nova loves sharks now. I mean, I guess maybe her grandfather ended up not dying.
Maybe that was the kicker, is like surviving that with her grandpa made her fascinated with sharks, and then she came to love sharks.
Yeah, she loves sharks because one flies at the window and she's like, oh, poor baby. And then Mark McGrath is like, poor baby? She's like, yeah, I love sharks. The little guys, I love them.
Speaking of which, the years between Sharknado 2 and Sharknado 6 were hard on Mark McGrath.
I think he already looked like that, though, didn't he?
No, he aged way hard between those movies. Nothing, I mean, he's, everybody ages. I'm not trying to shit on anybody for aging, but like, I don't think it's as apparent with anybody as it is with him.
So yeah, Mark McGrath shows up. He's Finn's brother-in-law,
Brother-in-law.
and he's taking over the bar. It's because Finn and April, she's pregnant with Gil, even though Nova's like, you should name him Lucas. Why? Is there a reference that I'm not getting? Was Frankie Muniz's character named Lucas?
Maybe she just loves fucking Corey Haim. I don't know.
Corey Haim's dead, man. Show some fucking respect.
I said loves Corey Haim. I didn't talk shit about Corey Haim.
I'm just
I love
kidding.
Corey Haim. I just watched The Lost Boys last Friday.
They're gonna move to like Ohio or some shit. I don't remember
No,
what
Kansas.
he said.
Remember?
Kansas. Oh, that's right, because that's where the farm is. He's like, I might start a tree trimming business.
Tree trimming business. I'm pretty good with a chainsaw.
And they're like, I can't see you with a chainsaw. He's like, I'm pretty good with a chainsaw, except nobody actually knows because I don't think he remembers.
He doesn't. Nobody remembers. So effectively, they didn't happen.
And then Gary Busey's there with Bo Derek, and Tara Reid, April's water breaks, and he's like, "Is your water broken?"
Is your water broken?
Not exactly. I don't know if he worded it that way. And then fucking we get. Oh, and you notice that the last movie, number 5, is the only one in the franchise that didn't have the Finn at the end.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
it's not over.
Yeah, because it was definitely going to continue.
Because it's like that movie didn't have an ending. That's like episode 1. This is episode 2.
Yeah.
Technically, this is episode 6, but you know what I mean.
Fair enough. I get what you're saying.
This one has
Picking
a
up what
fin
you're putting down.
because it's done. This is the last Sharknado until we get the gritty,
about time.
serious reboot. And it would just be nothing. Like, because this could never actually happen. Oh, also...
No, there's a huge tornado and some sharks get caught up in it, and one shark flies off and hits a guy on like a boat, and then they're like, wow, that's scary. Imagine if there were more sharks in the water. Imagine if our oceans weren't being shark fished to death.
Imagine if it had to be a baby shark, because it's like just a little guy, and then a bunch of fish fall on his face. Because there's also other things besides the sharks in the ocean. Which is something I don't think these movies realize. We get the credits, and then it goes through all the actors and shit, just like all the other ones. And then there's like a post-credit scene with Al Roker going...
Oh, I missed that.
Going, there's a fucking wave of alligators or some shit.
Oh,
like,
I didn't stick
and I'm
around.
like, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. That is not canon. I refuse to believe that they fucking did all this stuff and saved the world just so alligators can come fuck everything up now. No. That's it. But yeah, dude, we're done. That is the last Sharknado movie. We'll do Heart of Sharkness next year, but I'm gonna make fun of the Rev because he's like, it's not the last one. It's fucking Heart of Sharkness when he doesn't check dates on IMDb.
Okay, look, I'm willing to admit it's not part of the Sharknado storyline, but it's still a Sharknado movie.
But you said it came out after this.
You're right. You know what?
It.
Admittedly, I was wrong. The reason I thought it came out after this is because I had never heard of it until after the series had ended.
Are you a fucking Republican? You don't check dates on anything, do you?
Don't act like you do.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Don't act like you do. You don't check dates. If you had gone through the same thing, you would have been like, you would have had the same argument with me.
No, I wouldn't. I would have looked at the date and realized that it came out in 2015 and not 2018.
Did I cling to my point after you had pointed out my error? No. Once you brought me evidence of my error, I admitted I was wrong. Have you ever heard the philosophy that once a man admits he is wrong, he is immediately forgiven for all wrongdoing?
No, because that's fucking bullshit. John Travolta probably has that same thought process.
I don't know what Scientology's views on that are.
They're never wrong. I mean, if you're rich enough, you're never wrong. If you're rich enough and famous enough, you're always right. You never have to do anything, ever.
That's what we've heard. For legal purposes, because certain organizations are extremely litigious.
Oh, allegedly. Because they're going to listen to this.
Allegedly litigious.
Do you have any final thoughts?
They went out like they came in, with a bang.
I went out the way I came in, with a boner. I don't really know what that means. Cassie Serbo's hot.
You want to talk about a boner? You sure did make a boner when you said that Heart of Sharkness was the last Sharknado movie. Fucking idiot.
Exactly. I didn't say that. He did.
No, my opponent said that. I think we all know that my opponent said that. We've got it on the record that my opponent said that. Not only that, but he is an idiot and ugly, and I am the greatest Sharks Across Hollywood host in the history of this podcast.
Do you golf?
I'm the best golfer that there's ever been. There's never been a better golfer than me. I challenged Andrew to a golf game once. It was embarrassing. He wouldn't even come on the course with me. He knew that I would dominate him in every way.
That is going to be so, like, nobody's going to give a shit by the time this comes out.
Everybody's going to be like, the fuck are they still referencing that?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it's going to get so much dumber before it gets smarter.
That's why I just want to keep watching Sharknado movies and just have fun. This movie's good. It's fun. It's Asylum good. It's Asylum great.
It's Asylum great.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 on the Asylum scale.
Yes, absolutely.
5 out of 10 on the regular movie scale. I don't know if it's even... Yeah. Like, this...
I'd rate this a solid 3.5 stars out of 5. You know, I go on the 5-point scale because of... But I do half stars, so it's basically a 10-point scale.
It's delightful. And watch them all, even part 4, so you can see what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's part of it.
Part 4 is worth a watch just to get from point A to point...
Yeah.
You know, to get you from point D to point F.
It's not all bad.
You have
it's
to bridge that gap, but
not great.
It's a huge disappointment after the strength of those first 3, but fortunately is also an anomaly after the strength of the subsequent 2.
This franchise is fucking crazy because it was made to be just this dumb piece of crap that they shit out and aired on the fucking Sci-Fi Channel, and it became a giant franchise. This is the High School Musical of Asylum franchises.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The only difference is that these didn't get theatrical released at all.
They should have. 5 out of 6 of them absolutely
Yeah.
deserved it.
Yeah, so that's it. We're done talking about the proper Sharknado movies. We'll probably tackle Heart of Sharkness next year unless there's another fucking Sharknado movie that gets shat out in that time.
I don't want another Sharknado movie. I want to be clear. I
mean, this ended
This
well.
ended exactly
Yes.
where I wanted it to end. It ended on top. It ended well, satisfying, tied everything up in a neat bow, gave me everything I wanted to see. Let's move on to Meth Gator.
Oh, the Meth Gator franchise.
Yes, the Meth Gator franchise.
I'm down.
Or you know what? You know what? I'd be down for a Cocaine Bear sequel too. 'cause
Lavalantula.
I have not watched it yet. I will hop over and
There's
watch
two
those.
of them. So
That looks like it could be. That is promising.
with Gutenberg, right?
With Gutenberg, yeah.
Yes. And technically it takes place in the same universe.
Yes.
This whole world is just fucked. But does it even happen now?
Oh, that's a valid question.
Fuck.
I wonder if that's why there's only 2 of them.
I would love the shit out of that if that one ended because this one ended the way it did. If like the second one's just like, oh fuck, what's happening over there? Oh god, oh hey, oh we're fine, okay. So yeah. Anyways, Lavalantula.
That's the end of part 2. Part 2 ends.
That'd be great.
Everybody's gonna die. It's gonna end everything, and then it's only saved because they reset the timeline in Sharknado 6. That's the
that'd
only
be
reason.
so
it's
fucking
live.
cool. I would love. Oh yes, that's amazing. So yeah, I think we're done. We're gonna we're gonna get the fuck out of here. Follow us on social media on everything at the Shark Pod. Give us money where we talk about more Asylum movies on Patreon actually. So come do that. Some of those movies are actually good, which is fucking weird.
I was surprised by how many of them I actually legitimately enjoyed.
Yeah, I was thinking about them the whole time I was watching this. Just like, oh fuck, Android Cop is really good. Fucking Grim, whatever the fuck.
Grim,
Avengers Grim.
Avengers Grim,
Pretty good.
I Am Omega, Planet Dune.
Planet Dune was really good. Sunday School Musical wasn't good in the good way. It was
It's good in the bad way, but still.
it was delightful and fun. But yeah, patreon.com/SharksCrossHollywood. Come listen to us talk about all that Asylum shit, plus a bunch of other shit. Give us your money.
All right, I think it's about time for us to wrap it up.
Yeah.
If you want to hear more from me, check out my Instagram profile at Samuel Mance. You can also come see me do comedy at most of the open mics in Spokane. I'm still grinding it out there.
It's actually Samuel Manass.
No, it's Mance, Mantzz. You can find the link in at the Shark Pod's Instagram profile, and you can also find the link for at Not For Nothing Music, Andrew's band, where you can find out about their upcoming shows, and you can even go check them out on Spotify. They got a new album out, well worth your listen.
Called Circles, because that's what you'll want to spin in when you're listening to it. In a good way though. All right, we're gonna be back in a couple weeks with I don't know what the fuck. Oh wait, actually,
Do you know what the fuck?
yeah, I do actually.
Oh,
I actually know.
Sharks Across Tokyo.
Yeah, Sharks Across Tokyo. It's gonna get fucking weird this year. It's gonna be weirder than it has been, I think.
Are we starting with Hokkaido?
I think we're gonna start with Hokkaido because I've been wanting to watch that movie for so goddamn long now. Oh my god. We're gonna do it. Hokkaido. That is the next movie we are talking about on Sharks Across Tokyo. But until then, stay jawsome.